Hello everyone, Sleck here, and we are back with a follow-up to our video, Best Place to Farm AP. For those of you who haven't seen our previous video, we went over 5 places to farm AP to decide on which one is best. I will leave a link in the description below if any of you want to go see that video. I also want to take the time to thank everyone who left us a comment on the last video. We had suggestions on how to improve our farming loops, and we even had some new methods we hadn't heard of. We have done our utmost best to recreate these methods suggested to us in the comments, but if you feel we haven't done your method justice, please let us know in the comments. For our party, we will be running Cloud, Barrett and Yuffie. For all of these loops with the exception of the 2-person bounce, for those we'll be running just Cloud and Barrett. We have a lot to get through today, so we have condensed the video into 3 sections based on locations and methods of the loops we use. The first 2 are Gungaga and Nibelheim, and for the last one we have combined the combat sims, muscle museum bouts and regional intel farms into one section. In total we have 15 new loops we have tested, and we'll also be including the results of our previous 5 loops we ran in our last video. All have been tested for 15 minutes and using the HP up material to measure the gains. We have used 2 HP up materials this time round, one on Cloud which is our standard gain, and one on Barrett with the Chocobo armband paired with AP up material which will be our enhanced gain. So, with all that over and done with, number 1, the Gungaga loop. We did all of these by equipping Cloud with the HP to MP materia and linking Ice with Magnify, Swift Cast and MP Absorb. We also used the first strike material alongside the Choco King Cape to give us 2 ATBs at the start of each battle. We also used the save and reload method instead of warping in and out of the zone to speed up the respawn. So, starting off with our lowest AP gain, we have our original Gungaga loop, but using the ice materia instead of just normal attacks. This run starts at the storehouse, clearing the mobs straight ahead of you as you spawn in, then turning around, heading out, killing the mobs on your left. Once you've dealt with them, head towards the Moogle Emporium and kill the Grandhorn and the Toads. Finally, head back towards the path, kill the 2 Grandhorns, then save, reload and repeat in reverse. Clearly not the most efficient Gungaga loop, but better than our original attempt. Next we have clearing the egg mobs just outside the storehouse and then going inside the storehouse to clear the other 3 groups inside. Again, using the save reload technique and then doing the loop again in reverse. We found we were not particularly good at navigating around the obstacles at speed inside the storehouse, so those of you with better chocobo skills than us will probably fare a little bit better. Next we had the Teach Me Great Warrior quest. This one involves picking up the quest in Gungaga from the notice board and involves you helping to train a young local fighter by performing a series of battles with certain criteria. To do this loop you need to get to the 3rd stage, which we found a little bit difficult as we kept killing the mobs so fast in the 1st and 2nd stages that we had to really restrict our character's damage. However, it is still possible even with highly leveled characters while still remaining on the easy difficulty setting. Once at the 3rd stage, we equipped the elemental materia and paired it with fire and ice materia on Cloud's weapon. For the farm itself, we just used triple strike on the enemies, which would kill them all instantly most of the time, and more importantly, failed to complete the quest as we made sure to never stagger the enemies. Once you have killed the mobs and failed the quest, you can hold triangle to repeat this farm as many times as you like. Next we tried a variation on the storehouse loop, with the variation being we were only focusing on the 3 mobs inside the location, so we weren't leaving and we weren't killing the eggs outside. Although we scored higher on this than the previous loop, we can't help but acknowledge some of that could be down to our chocobo skills and the fact that we had practice getting around the storehouse from the previous loop. Next, still in the storehouse, this time focusing on just one group of mobs, which is the 2 Grandhorns to the east. This run we were using the ice materia setup we used previously. As soon as the fight started we would have Cloud cast Blizzaga, which would wipe out the enemies in one go and then use the save reload method to respawn the mobs. We also noticed it's best to walk slightly away from where the mobs will spawn, otherwise when you load back in the mobs may not appear and you'll have to walk away and wait for them. Walking to the pillar slightly to the south of the mobs seemed to be the best spot to ensure a respawn. And finally, our number 1 Gungaga farming location. Similar to the 2 Grandhorn method, we just went south of the Moogle Emporium and repeatedly killed the Grandhorn and 2 Fright Flowers, and then used the save reload method to respawn the mobs. Next up we have the Nibelheim loops. We weren't too sure which mobs we were supposed to be killing, so we started with those next to the airstrip tower. Looking at the results, we knew we must have been doing something wrong, so we decided to head over to the beach. First we tried the group of lizards next to the Choco stop, but again noticed our results were pretty poor and realised that the advice about the Genji glove must be referring to the group of 3 larger mobs slightly higher up the beach. We couldn't manage to take them all down in one go, but the results were really impressive, and we suspect that with some modifications or changes to our party members that we could take this down in one go. We didn't want to change our party lineup as we fear it may skew our results. However, we won't forget about this loop and might return another time and try some different combinations to see if we can improve on it. And our final and best Nibelheim loop is the Whitehead Angel Quest. You pick this up from the notice board at Nibelheim and it will lead you on a quest to find a cat. When you find the cat, it turns out to be none other than Tifa's cat Fluffy, who also has a full litter of kittens you need to help safely escort back to town. Along the way you will be getting attacked by bees which give a large amount of AP, but what we are after is the Queen Bee. When you reach this, you should ignore attacking the Queen Bee and focus on killing the lesser bees, which will continue to spawn whilst the Queen Bee is still alive. We tried our best to keep the Queen Bee alive, but the AI slowly chipping away at her health meant we could only manage 2 full runs in our 15 minutes, but we were still farming bees on our 3rd run when the timer went off. And now our final section. This includes combat sims, regional intel and muscle museum farms. In last place we have the Cosmo Canyon loop. This involves repeating the regional intel mission Wizards of the Waste. We did this in our last video, but we wanted to attempt this with some modifications. Cloud now has the HP to MP materia in addition to pairing ice materia with Swiftcast, Magnify and MP Absorb. We noted that we lost time originally throwing ethers to Cloud and wanted to follow the suggestions in the comments. Unfortunately, we found keeping Cloud alive really difficult, and any time saved from not needing to restore magic would be offset by Cloud going down in battle. Next we have the combat sim Grasslands Regional Intel 2. This was a nice and easy run. We were able to one-shot the mobs each time, and the only thing holding this back was the loading times. Next up we have the Muscle Museum 2-person bout Devil May Care Desperados All Rounds. We have covered this loop twice before and we are back with another suggestion, which is to use the Petrify materia to cast Quake on all of the mobs, including the 2nd round. We paired the Petrify materia with the usual Magnify, Swiftcast and MP Absorb, but found ourselves unable to one-hit the mob in the 2nd round, which we feel was really costing us a lot of time. However, wiping out the first group of mobs is incredibly satisfying with this materia, and we suspect by using this materia combination and then doing the 1-round reset technique that this could be improved. Next up is the Grasslands Regional Intel 5. This was another easily repeatable farm. We equipped Cloud with the elemental materia and paired it with fire and ice, and then proceeded to use triple slash at the start of the fight. This would instantly kill the 2 enemies, at which point we just held triangle to repeat. And finally back over to the Muscle Museum with Birds of a Feather Round 1. This was another one we truly enjoyed. Using the ice materia alongside Swiftcast and Magnify was truly satisfying, and we were able to wipe out all of the mobs in one go nearly every time, leaving us able to turn off our brains whilst the AP rolled in. Okay, we have the data. Like in our previous videos, we will be basing our results on our max potential AP gain. We worked this out by multiplying the standard AP gain per hour by the maximum number of characters who can gain AP, and then again by 12. The reason we use 12 is we're assuming all characters both in and out of the party are wearing weapons and armour with 6 slots each. We are aware there is equipment with more than 6 slots, but we went with the assumption that most people farming AP probably don't all have the best gear in the game at this point, and will also likely be using some of those slots to equip material they need to actually perform these farms. So, here are the results. Our number 1 best place to farm AP is the Grandhorn and Fright Flowers loop in Gongaga, coming in with a staggering 345,744 max potential AP, blowing the competition away. Or does it? We mentioned that our runs were not always perfect, and although we did try most of these loops more than once, we have a feeling we have some ideas on how we can improve on a few of these, especially after reading the comments regarding the Whitehead Angel quest, as our results are nowhere near what others are reportedly getting, but we do have some ideas on how we can maximise this, and we hope to return soon with a short video focusing solely on this quest. Looking at these results, however, we feel confident that we have been able to weed out the weak and shortlist the best locations to farm AP. So now we can begin to look at truly mastering these locations by trialling different materia combinations and party lineups. Thank you everyone for all of your comments. It has been an absolute pleasure attempting to recreate all of your suggestions, and would also like to say sorry to anyone we missed or for any suggestions you don't feel we did correctly. And if you still feel like you know a better route or have any issues with this video, please let us know in the comments below. And if you have enjoyed this video or found it helpful, please don't forget to like and subscribe, because it really helps the channel out. And with nothing else, I have been Slek and you have all been amazing. Until next time, take it easy.